Toda Rava, bienvenido, Kahal. Imagine a synagogue founded by Spanish and Portuguese Jews. I don't know what language to speak. I'd like to introduce the band. Art, this is... what's your name again?
Big Jim.
Big Jim. It's good to introduce. Actually, I introduced him to you. Vince Long, by the way, is an FBI man. I don't know whether you knew that or not. So be careful what you say. Full-blooded Irishman. And being a musician, he didn't have much money, so he only bought part of the bass, just for neck. And so he plays on that. Big Jim, maybe you should stand up. Could you stand up? Maybe so in the drums. I don't know why they call him Big Jim. You might be able to find out for me. Big Jim's about 6'5" and 320 pounds. And
Big enough for you?
he's big enough. And whatever he is, he's what he says he is. And you better not guess. I know that's what he is. Anyhow, there's Art. Art is a sax player. I don't know, his last name is not pronounceable in a synagogue. I'll spell it for you. It's L-O-R-D. You could refer to him as Adonai, Elohim. If you're a scholar, the Tetragrammaton. He is all of those things. And he's a wonderful sax player. He's played with every jazz musician in Philadelphia, including he played with Sonny Stitt once, and he was a professor at Drexel and just retired fairly recently. I'm Father Ron Parker. I'm an Episcopal priest. I'm supposed to be retired, but I'm holding on to a church in Mount Airy called Annunciation, and there I am sort of the untitled priest in charge. And the senior warden of that church is the father of the president of your synagogue, so if I got some pull. What can I tell you? I got some pull. So, that's the band, by the way, and we're here to entertain you, but I thought I'd do a little teaching too, because most people don't really understand what jazz is, and of course that tune that we just played now, you don't know the name of, do you? No, and I don't either. And so that's why I'm going to start. It's a blues tune. Blues tune. Everybody think a blues tune is something sad. You're singing about, oh, I lost my wife, but the dog died, and the truck doesn't run anymore, and they sing that and they call that the blues. But that's not the blues. Actually, what the blues is. Do we have any musicians here? Yes, musicians here.
Maury.
Blues, huh?
Maury.
Oh, yes. And Janelle, I think. Anyway, blues is actually a 12-bar form. All right? It's always the same form. It's always 12 bars. That doesn't mean you go to 12 bars. It means it's 12 measures. Okay? And they're all the same.
Explain a measure.
Explain a measure. A measure is the distance between two bar lines. Does that help? So usually musicians like to play blues because they express themselves with it. And I think it's probably the closest thing to a prayer when you think about it. Because when you pray, if you pray extemporaneously, you express yourself. You express whatever it is you want to express. Your love of God, you express your needs, you express your love in some way or another. And musicians do that when they play the blues. They're expressing themselves in some way or another. Instead of thinking, though, in words, they think in music, or tones, or whatever. And that's what you just heard. So, that is a description of the blues. We're going to talk about different kinds of music here. I have a friend, great friend, and I don't know if any of you have run across her. Her name is Miss Justine. Miss Justine is like the Billie Holiday of Philadelphia. Yeah, she's a lovely, lovely person. And she is old school, just like Billie Holiday. And she and I are very good friends. And we were talking on the phone one day. And she said, people come to me and say jazz is dead. Jazz is dead. And she said, Ron, jazz ain't dead. Just the people that do jazz is dead. I wish you hadn't played that. But, those of you who have been in Philadelphia a long time remember Zanzibar. Closed. Blue Note, closed. Slim Cooper's closed. The Red Hill Inn closed. And so it would seem that jazz is dead. But if you've been reading about it, you found out that jazz has gone someplace else. It's gone into the colleges and the universities. There isn't a college around that doesn't have a jazz course now and is offering undergraduate degrees and graduate degrees in jazz. So it went from there to there, but it also went some other place too. If you notice, when you look at the papers, you find some churches, especially Episcopal churches, have what they call jazz vespers. Vespers is just another name for evening prayer and so forth. Jazz vespers showing up in churches. So it's moved really from the nightclub to churches. Isn't it funny when you think about it? I mean, it came out of, Bourbon Street and places like that, and sort of moved, and it was in illicit places, and sort of moved up the road, and now it's in universities and colleges, and tonight, historically, it's in the synagogue. And I told a friend of mine, we're having a jazz vespers in a synagogue. And he told me, he used that word that people so often use when they can't think of another word, that emotions are too much. He said, "Oi." Okay, that's that. I wanted to introduce ourselves and what we're doing tonight, and then we can play a little. You remember, how many people here remember Tin Pan Alley? There's about 3 people left, including me. In the 20s, and I won't talk all night, I'm just kind of leading you up to something. In the 20s, there was a thing called vaudeville. And I know it well because my grandfather was a vaudevillian. My grandfather came from London with a banjo on his knee. He really did come with a banjo on his knee from London, and he came over to the United States to make his way, and he didn't. He didn't. Eventually he became a tailor, but he had a big influence on me, and I used to sit with him, and we used to watch Al Jolson. Okay, and he was a great fan of Eddie Cantor. Remember Eddie Cantor? In vaudeville, what they used to do when Eddie Cantor was the headliner, the people would sit there, they didn't like any other act. They didn't like the dog act or the juggling. They used to sit there and they'd do this. They became known to the musicians as cantor changes for that reason, and song after song after song was written using those changes. I can, let's see. Well, let me just as we think. First of all, I got rhythm, all right? Okay, then. Write down so many I've flown around the world. He's the singer. I've flown around the world in a train. One of my favorite. Just went on and on. Same chords. We got to the 50s and we're Dewey Papa Cow Cow. You know that song? I don't know what they're singing, but that's what they used to sing. Anyhow, out of all that came a beautiful song, and I'm going to try and somehow do it for you if I can get close to this microphone. And you can see how you can make a nice song out of those chords. I see trees green too. I see them bloom for me and for you, and I think to myself, what a wonderful world. I see skies blue and clouds of white, bright blessed day and a dark sacred night, and I think to myself, what a wonderful world. The colors of the rainbow, so pretty in the sky, also on the faces, people going by. I see friends shaking hands, saying, how do you do? They're really saying, I love you. Babies, I watch them grow, learn much more than I ever know, and I think to myself, what a wonderful world. Colors of the rainbow, pretty in the sky, also on the faces, people walking by. I see friends shaking hands, saying, how do you do? They're really saying, I love you. Some babies cry, I watch them grow, learn much more than I'll ever know, and I think to myself, what a wonderful world. What a wonderful world. Thank you. We have a little Korean grandchild, and after he does everything, he's 2 years old, he's not even 3 years old, and he sings and he speaks 3 languages. He's 2 years old. Well, he counts from 1 to 10. And after he does it, he says, thank you so much. I wanted to start doing that. Okay. Now, in the 60s, something happened, which you, who might be Portuguese, but still in the synagogue, would know. Something called the Bossa Nova. Okay. Can anybody translate? New beat. Okay, and
Gilberto.
See. Stan Getz, very Spanish fella, recorded it
And it sounded something like this, right?
Yeah, very good, yeah.
Okay. There's a little boss on it.
Yeah.
Thank you.